Welcome back, everybody, to The Fan's Perspective, the podcast where you listen to us talk about what we think about comic books and you don't get to retort shit. I am the AA Ron. I'm sitting here.
Westicles is here.
Uber Bulge.
Juicebox.
We've got a new person with us right now. We're going to call him, in honor of being sarcastic and because this is a comic book podcast and because he's gay, we're going to call him Black Canary.
Alright,
because he's just oh so loud.
Is she gay?
She might be.
I think she's bi.
She's bi.
They keep
She's at least
changing.
bi.
They keep
I'm really not
changing
sure
these
anymore.
things. I don't know anything anymore. Okay.
I only know Catwoman is bi.
I don't know.
Hey, what about Iceman? He's new.
Icemen.
Iceman. Yeah.
There's more of them.
Iceman. Well, actually, yes. Only one of them's gay.
Yeah. One of them remembered he was gay. Oh yeah, I'm gay. That's right. Where's the nearest penis? What?
That's okay. I can just make one.
You know, I gotta tell you, that would be weird, but it's X-Men. It's
Weirdest-
always weird.
Weirdest
Yeah.
ice sculpture garden ever.
Yeah, everything's always weird. Okay, so we got a little bit of a good topic here, and I say little bit because it's going to take a long time. This is all in the interest of sarcasm. If you remember, our second episode was a top 10 list between just me and Westicles.
Quite a good time.
We spoke for over a fucking hour about that. And that was on
It was a
particular
very solid
characters.
list.
If it makes anybody feel any better, though, we spent probably 2 hours configuring
Hour
our
and a half,
list.
too. Yeah, I guess.
This is going to be top 10 list of non-Marvel comic book movies, both animated and silver screen.
Now, real quick to clarify, apparently one of the entries, maybe more than one of us has used, is a Marvel-owned property, but it's not part of the Marvel universe, so we're allowing it.
Yeah, we're going to allow
Just
it.
ahead of time.
And you guys will know it when we say it, and if you don't know it, we're going to enlighten you when it comes up anyway.
Yeah.
But we're going to do, because we've got 4 of us with lists, and we've got good old Canary here who's going to chime in every once in a while. Since there are 5 of us doing this podcast, we're only going to give you our reasons for them being in our list for our top 5. 6 through 10, we're just going to kind of go over.
Yeah, just make it a brief afterthought almost, but
Yeah.
to inform.
But instead of it being an afterthought, we're actually going to do a forethought. It's going to be what we do first off.
Good.
So, top 10 list of non-Marvel comic book movies. I'm going to start it off. Number 10 is the animated Wonder Woman movie.
10 or 5?
10. Number 10.
You're going to start at 10?
Start at 10. We're going to do 10.
Okay.
We're going to do 10 through 6 and then 5 through 1.
Got it.
So, this is no comments, no real discussion. Maybe a brief comment if you feel like you need to make it. But I feel like this one speaks for itself on any top 10. If you've seen the animated Wonder Woman, fantastic movie.
It's phenomenal.
On my top 10. Westicles, number
All
10.
right, my number 10 is The Crow.
Yeah, The Crow.
Hell of a comic book
Just
movie.
The Crow with Lee?
With Brandon Lee,
Okay,
yes.
with Brandon Lee. City of Angels wasn't bad, but I do enjoy The Crow.
Yeah.
Bulls, do you have a 10?
You could probably just pull one out. I particularly really like Justice League Doom.
Yeah,
It was
Doom
a really
was
good
actually a really good movie if you haven't seen it.
It introduced Cyborg in a
Mhm.
major role, and he was great in the movies.
It's good stuff. What do you got there, Juicebox?
My number 10 is Hellboy.
Yeah.
Excellent choice.
I can't complain. We're going to go right on to number 9. Number 9 for me is Man of Steel. I thought it was a good launch point. Not as great of a movie as it could have been. It felt rushed, but I think it deserves a spot on my top 10.
Yeah, fair enough.
He broke Zod's neck. I sat
was
there
badass.
mouth agape in that theater. Didn't see that shit coming.
Yep.
Westicles.
My number 9 is Sin City.
Yeah.
I got a lot of love for Marv.
Wow, there's no reason not to. Fantastic movie. What you got?
That's pretty much mine too, Sin City.
Sin City. Did you guys see A Dame to Kill?
Not yet.
Not yet. Still got
I
it.
want
I
to.
own it. I just haven't gotten around to it.
I have not seen Ava
What?
Green's
I'm the
Tits,
only
movie.
one who's seen that?
Yes.
Oh my god. Yeah, Ava Green's Tits the movie, man.
I'm excited. It
Dude.
really has a great theme.
That movie makes you want to hate fuck her. You do. You understand. You get so into the character's head. I understand completely. But you guys haven't seen the movies, you don't know what I'm talking about. Juicebox.
Okay, so my number 9 is Spawn.
That's 9?
It's
Yeah.
badass.
Wow.
Now I'm
Badass
mad.
movie.
Now I'm mad already.
Wow.
We're
man.
too into this and
My
I'm
list
mad.
gonna make you happy.
Alright, number 8. Number 8, Dark Knight Rises. I thought it was a great movie. Not top 5 worthy, but shouldn't be out of anybody's top 10 in my opinion.
I agree with that opinion.
All right, so number 8, Westicles.
My number 8 is actually Dredd, Carl Urban.
Dread.
I love it.
That's
One
an
of the
obscure
best-
reference.
I
Not a whole lot of
love
people
it.
know about Dread.
One of the most literal comic book movies I've seen in a long time.
Very literal.
Very well done.
Uber Bowls, can you give us an 8?
My 8 was actually Judge Dredd. The original one was Stallone.
Really?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that
Interesting.
fucking movie.
Yes.
It's so cheesy.
It's corny
It's-
and cheesy as
Well,
fuck.
it's
It was great.
Stallone.
I love it
you know,
too. It's
like of
ridiculous,
course it's
but-
cheesy and corny. I mean, even Rambo with all of its blood and gory mess is cheesy.
Yeah.
War. Just shut up,
Every
Stallone.
time he
It's
says
Stallone.
war, I just wanna
Just
go,
fucking-
"Huh,
Just
how'd it
cut
go?"
somebody in half. Shut up.
I am
Exactly.
the law. It's just fucking great.
Above the law.
I gotta say, I like the newest one when he fucking ripped those people in half with the 50
Oh,
cal.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, Dredd was fun.
Juice box.
It
Can you
was
give us an 8?
amazing.
My number 8 is Scott Pilgrim.
Hell yes.
Yeah, not a lot of
Scott
people
Pilgrim.
know that was a
Yeah.
I mean, comic, graphic novel. We're
Oh
putting
yeah,
them all in the
it's
same.
definitively a comic in my book.
Yeah, so it's a great movie. Nobody can bitch about that. I think when that movie came out, I don't think anybody knew we were going to get what we got.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate Michael Cera. Okay, I hate everybody who's in this podcast knows how much, especially you Westicles. You know how much I fucking hate that guy. That movie made me like him a little bit, you know, because he still played the same character, just kind of awesome.
With
Plus-
confidence.
Plus Chris Evans, you know,
Yeah.
I like Chris Evans. That and Ramona Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dropped it.
If nothing else, she's hot as hell. All right, number 7, Superman 2, Christopher Reeves.
Ah. Good entry.
That you can't. I mean, why not?
I'm not a Superman fan, but I'll
Me neither,
admit it,
but-
I like most of his movies.
Me neither. But Christopher Reeves, man, Superman 2 in particular,
It's good.
it made me watch Superman for an hour and a half.
And care.
So yeah, and care. So surprisingly for me, I have 2 Superman movies on my top 10.
No, I've
Well,
never
to be
seen
fair,
that.
the movies are better than the character.
Yes, Westicles.
All right, my number 7 is Verville.
Yes.
It's a good fucking movie.
Surprised that's not higher on your list.
It would be, but my top 6 is just better in my opinion.
All right, number 7.
My number 7 for me is Batman Returns.
All right then,
Awesome.
Batman Returns.
I almost had that on my list.
I mean, who doesn't?
I almost had 5 Batman movies on my top 10.
I mean, well, I think that's expected though.
Two.
I
Juice
still
box.
have 4.
My number 7 is Sin City.
Well, all right then. Sin City's got a little higher.
Yeah.
All right, straight on to number 6, TMNT 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Oh, wow.
It's a comic book.
Yeah,
It
it is
is.
a comic
Teenage
book.
Mutant Ninja Turtles is a comic book,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't
Counts
know
entirely.
that. A
Right.
lot of people look at it as a '90s cartoon show starring Uncle Phil.
But it
No,
started.
it's a comic
It
book.
started-
It started as a comic strip.
And then it
That's
turned into a
true.
movie.
It
with
turned
Vanilla
into a
Ice.
movie, and it's iconic now. That shit's a comic book.
Yeah.
They ripped Raphael in half. Damn it!
Yeah, the fucking comic
Only
was
in
actually
the
pretty
comic
brutal.
books will you see some brutal ass shredder
Yeah.
shit.
Comics are pretty brutal.
Yeah. So, Secret of the Ooze for me. Who the fuck doesn't like the '90s Turtles?
Oh,
Well,
they're
yeah,
great.
I mean, of course.
Who doesn't?
You know?
I mean, even
it gets iffy when it comes to Turtles 3, but
I gotta tell you though, if anybody knew Corey Feldman was in it, I don't know if it'd have been as popular.
Right?
They would have recognized Corey Feldman.
Immediate. No.
Number 6 from Westicles.
My number 6 is The Dark Knight Rises.
No, Rise is just 2 spots higher than what I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, enough said. Uber Bold, you got a 6?
number 6 for me is the 1960s Batman, Adam West.
Adam West.
Holy goat nipples, Batman.
Just,
I
can
love
you,
it.
Okay, can you imagine that? Like, okay, a lot of the kids today don't know who he is. Like, they see him
It's
as
sad.
Family Guy
Yeah,
mayor.
Yeah.
Mayor of Quahog. Could you imagine, like, him in full, like, I always tell them, like, my cousin, he's only, like, 14 or something like that. He was just like, man, Adam West is, like, my favorite character. I was like, okay, now imagine him in cape and cowl, standing on the edge of a building. Give me the shark repellent, Robin.
And what's great about that shit too is like we would not even have Batman in comics today if it wasn't for that.
No,
Right,
probably
Because
not.
no, it's been said that the readership was so low on Batman.
Their numbers were
They were
tanked.
going to cancel it,
Yeah.
and then they did that show. The numbers went up, and we still have Batman.
Yeah,
75 years.
thank you, Adam West.
We
Yep.
have Adam West to thank. for all
What's your
this
number
glory.
6 there, Juicebox?
My number 6 is Cemetery Man.
Ooh.
Oh,
You want to talk about obscure?
wouldn't have thought about that.
Right,
Italian
obscure.
shit.
Damn.
Yeah, and that is actually a comic too.
Yeah.
I don't
Amazing
know what to
movie.
say about that.
I wouldn't have thought about that. Good call.
I got nothing there. I've seen the movie. I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've only seen part, but always wanted to
No,
finish.
it's good.
I own it. We can do
It's
that.
I've heard of
Let's
it.
do that.
It's
Never
worth a
actually
watch.
watched it.
It's worth a watch. It really
There's
is.
boobs.
Yes, there's boobs.
Always a
Quite a
plus.
bit.
There's always
a
boobs.
plus.
Okay, that's the thing about comic book movies. If it's bad, there's boobs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
True.
You get to watch it, and that's true for all movies. There's boobs. That's all you have to tell me, and it's like, maybe I'll give it a little look-see.
We'll see what happens. Hell,
Maybe-
even the spirit had some risque
maybe-
dancing.
Sure, let's watch it. We'll see what pops
That was
up.
about the only good part.
Maybe a
about that
fast
movie.
forward. You know, I'm surprised that we haven't just put boobs the movie up there. how is there not a
Is that
a
the
movie?
Power Girl comic movie?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
Power
you
Girl.
do got Stripperella, but that's.
I don't know. I feel
more-
like Boobs the movie for me would just be like that Avengers scene with Black Widow tied to the chair. On
Oh yeah,
repeat.
that boobs the movie. It's just that scene
Yeah,
in repeat, where she's just shaking in the chair as she's beating people's asses. It's pretty
I
exciting.
would watch that on loop.
You know, they should put out something called Boobs the Movie, where they just take every scene of boobs in every movie and just make it into
Jam
one
it
big
together.
feature film.
If they go TV though, they'd have to make a whole spin-off movie. On
I didn't
Game
say
of Thrones.
TV, I just said movie. Take it from all the movies and just like, here's boobs. Oh, and here's more boobs. And you guessed it, more boobs!
Yes, it's
Right?
just like a late night Comedy Central ad.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna get into the nitty gritty here. Top 5, where I'm gonna make you guys explain to me in detail why it's in your top 5. Sound good?
Sounds
Sure.
good.
Okay. We're actually gonna start with Westicles for this one.
Okay.
So
Well,
top 5 non-Marvel comic book movies. What's your number 5?
my number 5 is actually Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim.
Extremely well done translation. It took the characters, made them exactly what they should be, put them on screen. Took 6 whole books, and adapted them into a cohesive story that, yeah, it left some stuff out, but it got all of the main point across.
Well, what
Got
comic
all the
book
video
movies-
gaminess of it.
What comic book movies don't leave stuff out though?
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got.
We discussed this on the not the last podcast, the one before that.
Yeah,
That Civil War.
they're gonna have to leave stuff.
We're gonna
out.
have to. We've got no choice. So and things happen. Things have to be rewritten to be able to fit onto a screen because comic book writing and script writing are two very different things.
Yes.
Some people know that. Most people don't. Two very different formats. Two very different styles. So Juicebox, you had Scott Pilgrim on your list, but you had it lower.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have you, kind of weigh in. Like, why wouldn't you put it where Westicles put it at 5? Like, why is it so far down?
I don't know.
I mean, it's on your
I
top
just
10,
tend-
so obviously you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I've watched it several times. It's just, I don't know. I go toward more violent and gritty stuff when it comes to my
Yeah,
movies.
exploding into coins doesn't give you the same.
Yeah, it's exploding into
Exactly.
entrails and all that shit. So,
I mean,
it was a great movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not saying it
well,
wasn't.
like I said, we all went and seen it. I believe we saw it together.
Yeah.
we
But
did.
leave.
Yeah.
And I remember talking, especially to you, Westicles, going in like, I bet this is gonna suck because of Michael Cera. I knew it. I said it. Those are my exact words.
True.
Michael
You actually
Cera,
said it right before we
Michael
went
Cera
into the
is
theater.
going to ruin this movie for me.
Yep.
And that was before I knew, because I hadn't really looked at it. Like I'd seen the trailer, so I knew some of the actors who were in it, but I didn't know who all was in it. I didn't know what it really was about because I hadn't read anything. But I was like, this movie might have the potential to be awesome, but Michael Cera is going to ruin this for me. And he didn't, surprisingly for me.
No, actually, he played Scott Pilgrim pretty well.
Yeah, and after I saw the movie, I read it, and he did kind of,
He nailed it.
he really knocked that out of the park.
And by the end of the movie, you actually do believe he's gained some knowledge, some
Well,
self-knowledge.
At the end of the movie, I just wanted to fuck Ramona Flowers.
Everyone gets their own lessons from the movie. That was just one of many for me.
Yeah, that was the top one for me. I want to fuck Ramona Flowers. And actually, kind of a side note, I kind of did fuck Ramona Flowers
Huh.
because my girlfriend at the time cosplayed as Ramona Flowers, and
This
I
is
did
true.
fuck my girlfriend.
This is true.
So
She had a big foam hammer, too.
did kind of fuck Ramona Flowers. So Fantasy fulfilled.
Bucket list?
Yeah.
Scratch.
Yeah, scratch that right off. All right, Bulge. Number 5.
My number 5 is actually Spawn.
Spawn.
It's an excellent choice.
It was a great movie. Like, I mean, for the faults that it did have, you know, the biggest thing that I love about the movie, though, is the actor that played the clown.
John
Leguizamo.
Leguizamo.
He's
he's
great.
great.
I mean,
Is
he
he
was an
not?
Alice.
Okay. Broke Ass Podcast is first of all, and this is just another shout out. We are apparently gigantic fans of Michael J. White. He has
He's
shown
awesome.
up in multiple, we have referenced him in multiple podcasts, multiple video podcasts, etc. Michael J. White just keeps showing up. Another fucking flawless performance. He was amazing.
Oh, yeah,
He
he was
was.
great as Spawn.
But,
Spawn is one
but
of my
as
favorite
much
comic
as I
characters.
enjoyed Michael J. White, John Leguizamo stole that movie.
Yeah,
He
he
did,
made
man.
that shit.
He was a
the
literal
perfect-
violator.
He was the perfect little asshole.
See, the
for
thing
that.
about that too is a lot of
Perfect.
people, especially our age, whenever I ask them about the movie The Pest, a lot of people are like, fuck that movie.
I thought it was
A
fun.
lot of people don't like it. I, on the other hand, love that movie. So when I found out Leguizamo was playing the Violator, I was like, yes! There's no way this isn't gonna be great.
Right.
And it was hilarious.
It was.
It was
It was
amazing.
great.
See, for me, he's always going to be fucking Luigi.
Well,
Yeah.
as much as that's the case, every time I believe the movie was Unbreakable,
Yeah.
where Bob Hoskins was
Yeah.
fucking. Every time I think about him as an Italian plumber for just a second, and then I'm like, oh wait, but that was his worst movie.
Yeah, that was his worst movie. Nobody's proud of that movie, okay? No one. We're not proud to have said we've watched it.
Yeah.
Nobody's proud to have said they were in it. Nobody wants to talk about it. We'll leave it alone. But I think Spawn probably is on everybody's list.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's
I can
not.
honestly say, and weirdly, this is weird, I know, for him being one of my favorite characters, I did not include Spawn.
See, we had just gone over about how you're too confrontational.
Yep.
I love him. The movie's phenomenal. But after rewatching it recently and watching, actually, very recently, all the movies on my list, I can honestly say I prefer these 10. Now,
Yeah.
Spawn's 11 or 12, but still.
Not on the top 10. Well, he is on my top 10, and you will find out when. But what's your number 5, Juicebox?
My number 5 is Kick-Ass.
Hell yeah.
Okay, that is the one that we at the beginning said that kind of walks the line. It is owned
Apparently
by Marvel.
owned.
It is owned by Marvel,
I was not aware.
but we are going to allow it because it's not really canon in anything that has to do with the Marvel universe, whether it be cinematic or comic style.
Right.
So we're going to allow it. Care to elaborate?
I don't know. When I saw it, I just never seen anything quite like it. You know, there's a 12-year-old girl.
Whooping ass.
Yeah, she's just, spewing obscenities, cutting people
How many
off.
people became pedophiles because of that movie? Who did it? Who did it?
Wasn't me.
Not I.
Because I know when I watched it, I was thinking, if my sister was talking like that, I'd smack the shit out of her. And I was like, if my sister dressed like that, I'd beat the shit out of her. There's one dude, at least one out of every theater full of people who watched that, who went home and shamefully masturbated.
Oh!
At least check IMDb first.
Right, please. But people made the mistake. How many people do you think cosplayed that later on in the bedroom and then found out she was 12?
Oh.
Awkward. Awkward.
Now, the actual of-age chick was pretty hot.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Which, very different from the comics ending, where she actually does end up with him.
Right.
Instead of sicking her giant boyfriend on him.
Yes.
That was the ending of the comics,
Yeah,
and
that's the
it was
ending of the
much
comics.
more
I also
brutal and
feel like-
depressing.
It probably lightened the tone from the comic quite a bit, but it's...
It was the same attitude,
Yeah,
but
but
the tone was so much more
it wasn't as
depressing
bleak,
and
yeah.
bleak.
But...
The guy who played, the capital villain is so good.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
him.
And
What's his
I
name? Mark
really
Strong?
thought
Is that his name?
Is it Mark Strong? That doesn't
His
sound
last
Yeah.
name's Strong.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But it's
Yeah.
he's so good.
He's an awesome
And
villain.
I really like Nicolas Cage's Big Daddy.
Yeah.
His
He
one,
was great.
He was
his
the
one
scene
fight
stealer.
scene is just amazing.
Yeah.
I love Nick Cage. Okay, I'm not a Cage hater, but man, when he's like, I know he's burning to death,
Oh,
Yeah.
the high pitch.
but it's just like, hit him with the cage lights. It's like, shut up, Cage, just die already. Would you fucking die? That was brutal, though.
That was.
burning him alive.
Can you
yeah.
imagine? Okay, but imagine that in real life. Because
Yeah.
I know I'm tuning in for every second of that ass beating on live TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard to look away.
I couldn't look away. I watch hours on end of people getting knocked out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, if I live TV, somebody's getting beat to death, I'm watching it. I'm fucking, call me sick if you want, but there's no way I couldn't see that. Especially if the fucking villains are being that entertaining while doing it.
Right.
Yeah. They put on a show. They really did.
That was almost like some Joker shit, man.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just like, look at these, a little gasoline. I was like, oh man.
Yep.
I don't know whether to smile or be just horrified.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, if that was happening in front of me, I couldn't take it. I'd have to try to stop it. But, like, if it's 200 miles away or 10,000 miles away, like,
You're like, yeah, let his ass on fire.
nothing I can do about it. Burn him. Actually, truth be told, I'd probably be rooting for the hero to somehow get out of it
Yeah.
and kick the shit
Yeah,
out of
no
him.
shit.
Like, but, you know, can't take it back now.
Right.
Burn his ass. Like, fuck it. Entertain me. Yeah, it's a good movie though.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't know if it's great. That's why it's not on my top 10. I don't know if it's a great movie.
It's probably not a great
See,
movie, but I
I
find
think
myself
it is a
rewatching
great
it
movie.
quite a bit.
It's a great movie to me, and it's the other of the 11 or 12 between Spawn and
You know what?
between Spawn and
There are
Kick-Ass for 11
there are
and 12.
things in that movie that I think what really ruined that movie for me was watching it with my military buddy.
That would really bust it.
Watching it with Austin ruined it. Because I remember we were watching and when like he comes up with the jetpack and like has the
missile launcher,
the missile
Gatling-
launcher
or
and all
Gatling
that,
gun.
the
He's like,
Gatling gun.
that wouldn't work.
He was like he didn't say it wouldn't work. He was like he wouldn't be able to hear shit,
No.
which he wouldn't.
Right,
He
that's
wouldn't
true.
be able to hear shit. Plus, like his suit's not like heat proofed. You know how hot that would be?
Oh, yeah.
A Gatling gun going that fast.
Yeah.
Not to mention a fucking jet propelled. He would like how like.
Yeah.
They didn't explain any of that. Like,
True.
he's right. He wouldn't have been able to fight. His equilibrium would have been so fucked.
Well, it depends. Did he have earplugs?
Ears would have been ringing. Earplugs are not.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
still some pretty
That's
loud
right
shit.
next to your ear.
True.
Yeah.
So like that, like he kept pointing out shit like that, and I was like, "Shut the fuck up!
It's a comic book
Want to
movie. Leave it
enjoy the
alone.
movie? What about these movies make sense? Right? Shut up! Nobody buys a fucking car and puts that much into it to be called Red Mist either. You don't hear me bitching about it, okay? Nobody gets adamantium skeletons. Doesn't fucking happen. Shut up. Let me enjoy the movie.
Right.
Number 5 for me, Green Hornet.
That
Good
is
movie.
a great movie.
I gotta tell you, when I first saw the previews and things for that movie, all I saw was Seth Rogen, and was sold.
I like Seth Rogen.
I was like, I was sold enough to watch it, and I went and seen it, and was so happy I did.
Yeah.
that movie gets
Oh,
crapped on so
man.
much, though.
It does.
It had
It
the
does
right
not
amount of
deserve
humor,
that.
right amount of action.
Yeah.
It was comic booky enough to pull at my nerd heartstrings,
Mm-hmm.
and
then,
the dialogue.
Yeah,
the
the dialogue
dialogue
is
is so
amazing.
good.
Well, I mean, and if I remember correctly, it's been a little while since I saw it, but Christoph Waltz was the villain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz.
Who's like
He
the
actually-
darling child of Hollywood at the
Right.
moment. He's going to be a Bond villain.
Right.
And yet, he's such a good villain all the time, but he managed to play that so
He played
awkward
it so perfectly.
that it
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah, it was so good. That's why it breaks even my top 5.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed that movie so much that after I saw it, I had an opportunity to see it directly after, and I turned right the fuck back around and I sat back down in the theater.
I've had
That's
movies
how
like that.
that's how much I enjoyed that movie, and I can't say that about a whole lot of movies.
True.
Especially, non-Marvel comic book related movies. I can't say that enough very much about. And that movie just got me so good. Like I just enjoyed it that much. Had a smile on my face the entire time I was watching it. Yeah. So that's why it's on my top 5 and not only that, but it was so realistic for a comic book movie.
Yeah.
That's what would
Yeah.
happen if some fat lazy bastard
It's true.
decided one day that he's going to put on a cheap suit and get in a fucking cool looking car.
Yeah.
Especially if his partner was a martial artist who knew what the fuck he was doing. He'd
Right.
be useless. And he was fucking useless.
Yep.
It was so like
Most of the movie, he was just completely dead weight.
I loved it when he got shot with the dart and he woke up and he's like, "How long you been out? 3 days." He's like, 3 fucking days. What? Like he's just like, yeah. And that was a small dose. And he's like, what? Like that's the way that like even in the final like part of the movie, he was useless. Like he did
Yeah.
like
Right.
2 cool things, and it was like, but that's what would happen if just some fat, out of shape fucking loser who's never done a thing a day in his life. That's how they'd be if they were stupid enough to try to
Exactly.
become a superhero.
Yep.
What would happen? It'd be useless.
Yep.
Almost as useless as Westicles at a campsite.
What? Just because I can't light a fire doesn't mean I'm useless. I can unroll a sleeping bag, damn it.
All right. Well, props for that, I guess. All right, we're gonna go right on to number 4.
All right, my number 4 is actually The Watchmen.
Wow.
Yeah, I
No
I think
surprise.
that movie is phenomenal.
No, I said wow because that is actually my number 4 as well.
Okay. Well,
convenient.
Overbulge and
Yeah,
is it your number 4?
we're synced up.
It's higher up on my list.
Okay. It's actually not on my top 10.
Wow,
Really?
I'm actually surprised by that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So am I.
yeah,
So am I.
I mean, Watchmen was just one of those, it was a good, gritty, superhero. I guess you could say superhero team movie.
No,
kind of.
Yeah,
there's
it's
no
hard to
team in
call
that
it that.
movie. There's no team in that movie.
Well, I mean, they were
they
originally
were a team, but they don't work as a team.
I mean,
the
Oh,
closest
no.
you get is the old duo of Rorschach and Night Owl.
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You
They
get
kind
that.
of work together, sort of.
Kind of.
And then toward the end, Silk Spectre and Night Owl.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But-
Well, once you get into fucking, you kind of have to work as a team a little bit.
yeah,
That scene
that,
where-
It's a team sport.
Right as they get to the end and she hits the fucking flamethrower.
I know, right?
I bust up laughing every fucking time.
Yeah, but I mean that movie managed to do.
See, when I watched that, I was like, I bet he's impotent. I bet he didn't come at all.
Well, that was part of the comic. The comic,
it's true. Yeah,
She's like straddling him and he just can't get it up.
Yeah.
Unless she's in costume.
That's weird.
no, it's the
Yeah.
other way around. Actually, he can't get it up unless he's in
Oh,
costume.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
He has
Yeah.
to be in costume. What kind of fucking insecurities do you have to be harboring?
Some pretty impressive ones.
Oh
no doubt.
my!
In the
You
comic,
can't get
though, he
wood
was
unless
also a
you're in
pretty
fucking
pudgy looking
spandex and a
bastard,
cape.
too.
George Takei, oh my, doesn't touch like how
Oh
bad.
my.
Like yeah, just like.
Oh my.
What do you think, there, Canary?
Yeah, you're awful fucking.
Seen it. It's pretty
He's
good.
always seen it. Always.
I've seen it.
Anytime it's ever been known,
He's
I
watching
watched
it.
it for the
Always.
first time about a month ago.
no, he's always seen it.
He
When it first came out, I watched
Owatu
it.
ain't got shit on him. He is the watcher of the Watchmen.
he is the answer.
He is the answer.
Who watches the Watchmen?
Black
Black
Canary.
Canary does.
When it first
Not
came
the
out, I
big
watched it a
boob
lot.
chick. This guy.
Our Black Canary.
Yeah. But what did you think about that movie? Do you think it deserves to be on a top 5?
Yeah, I do.
Why? You have any real reason, or is it just why the hell not?
Great battles.
It does have some good
It
fights,
does.
man.
It does.
Yeah, the fight's looking brutal.
Yeah.
You know.
I love the prison break.
Yeah.
Dude, just that quick scene with Ozymandias, man. Like,
Yeah.
damn.
There's good work there. I mean, the 2 times he unleashes it all are pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That dude doesn't even have superpowers.
Actually, he is the closest thing to superpowered other than Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, all they said in that was physical.
Maybe they don't explain it quite as much as in the books. In the book, it's explained that there was some gene therapy involved as well.
Well, I was gonna say there'd have to be
He is
because
conditioned genetically now.
that's what I'm
and
saying.
he did that.
That's what I'm saying. Because without the explanation, it's like, well, why can't Batman do that shit?
Yeah, he's somewhat stronger and in more peak physical shape, which not supposed to be possible, but
Right.
than Batman.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In the comic books, Batman is the pinnacle
Yeah.
of the human physical condition. You can't get more conditioned than Bruce Wayne. I don't see him doing it.
Yeah.
He's not faster than bullets,
Nope.
you know?
Hell, whenever he dodges a bullet, it's because he threw him off with his cape.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like he doesn't dodge him at all.
He's effective at disillusionment.
Right.
Tricks them into it.
Right. What's your number 4 there, Juicebox?
My number 4 is The Crow.
It's an amazing movie. It
It
really,
really
is.
is.
That's not on my top 10 because every time, especially within the past 5 years, where I've had an opportunity to either watch that or another movie, I always pick the other movie. That doesn't mean that I hate that movie.
Yeah.
I think it's just that when it came out in the 90s, I watched it so many times.
I'm the same way. I've watched that movie.
That
so many
doesn't mean
times.
it's not great.
Yeah.
You know who ruined that movie for me as far as my enjoyment is my fucking brother.
That doesn't shock me.
Man, he
Drives
loved
everything into
he
the ground.
loved that villain so much.
Film's an
I
ass.
guess
That,
they're
like-
actually remaking The Crow.
But
Yeah,
that's
I've
upsetting,
heard.
actually.
Last I heard, Bradley Cooper was attached, but I think it's
That's
changed.
been, yeah. They're also announced that the villain is actually going to be a woman now.
Yeah.
They're making
And-
the villain.
It's weird.
But imagine yourself being, let's say, 10 years old, and every 3 seconds you hear "caw, caw, bang, fuck, I'm dead." Over and over again.
Yep.
I'm saying we had bunk beds, so I was on the bottom bunk and just. I mean, kind of funny to say now, but not very
Yeah.
funny when you see this every night.
Yeah.
Where you just hear a knock on the wood that is the thing, and then you see 2 hands in the shape of a bird, right down from the top bunk, and he goes, "Hey, double A, caw, bang, I'm dead." And I'm just like, "Shut up!"
The first time I'd lose it,
I'm
but
so glad he's dead. All right, I'm glad. Glad the crow died. I'm glad Brandon actually got shot. Shut up. Just,
I don't know. I just remember when it first came out, I really wanted to see it, and I was so young, my mom was like, no.
And hey,
And it just looked like the coolest fucking
boobs
thing.
and blood.
Yep.
And
Well,
when I finally got to watch it, it was actually after my mom passed away.
Sadness.
So I was in this really bad place.
yeah.
Oh man.
And watching that movie.
So was
after
it
that,
so was it inspirational to you
Yeah,
with the
like-
can't rain all the time?
Yeah,
Or was it
that's-
just
that-
kind of
that's
like,
why I have it on my own.
or is it just kind of
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like, I just kind of want to do what he does and kill all of my problems?
No, it was kind of like it would be nice, but
Yeah.
no, it was just like fuck. Okay, it obviously can't be that bad all the time. It's got to
Right.
go
Yeah.
somewhere. Up.
Sun's gotta come out eventually, which actually is it's a brooding thought for me because I don't like the sun.
Me
So-
too.
I'm a big fan. Of you.
I
Yeah.
understand that.
That's one of
I
the quotes
understand
I
that it's
can't get
needed.
behind.
I understand it's needed, but I don't like it.
Me neither.
You know.
Overcast all the time. Please and thank you, God. If you're listening, you hear me.
He's not
yeah,
listening to
well,
this podcast.
you know, that's because
Who
you're a damn
knows?
ginger. You know, I mean,
It's
gingers.
Well, I'm not one.
No, you're not.
It
You're
hurts
just
my
pale
skin.
as fuck.
It hurts my skin. Okay, I don't like anything that hurts my skin. That includes certain lotions and ovens.
No,
Like, it's my skin. Number 4 for me is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990s.
It is a true
Yeah.
classic.
The original movie, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost said earlier when you listed number 2, really higher than the first one, and then I was like, no, there's 6 entries left.
Yeah.
He's got time.
No,
Yeah.
no. Number 4 for me is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I did enjoy Secret of the Ooze, but I mean, a movie without Toka and Razor is a movie without Toka and Razor. Don't get me wrong. As much as I enjoyed, Vanilla Ice.
Go ninja, go.
That
Yeah.
mac and cheese commercial from last year,
Yeah.
he's stocking the shelves, go ninja, and the soccer mom just stops and just her mouth drops.
Yeah. They had Casey Jones.
Yeah.
April O'Neil was great. The Turtles, man, were
Yeah.
so...
Yeah.
Okay, that was early 90s. Look at those prosthetics.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
Splitter.
good.
And those were 4 people in those were costumes, not
Right.
Yeah.
puppets,
Animatronic head.
They
not-
actually did an
not
amazing job.
animated,
Mhm.
and they looked so good. Talk
They
about
did.
off the page, man.
Yeah.
You don't get more
Well,
off
and
the
You
page.
Straight-
can't even get that
Great.
with CGI as the
Right.
newest display.
As,
know?
as apparently, you can't make them not look like aliens
Right.
without, with
That's
CGI.
like my biggest complaint with part 3
Yeah.
is they brought
Turtles in
Casey-
Time?
Yeah, they brought Casey Jones back and they basically made him a glorified fucking babysitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you get to do nothing but watch these Japanese guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just watch them the whole time. We don't want any of your shit or your lip in this movie. Shut up.
Even though that was a highlight of the previous two movies.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, like, for whatever reason, like, because my humor's different. Like, I always found it so funny when he was like just chopping the carrots. That's all he did that whole scene. Chop carrots, and then like he ate a carrot, maybe rubbed her shoulders, and then turtle wax. And then he goes back to chopping carrots, and I was just like, that was so funny to me that all that craziness just happened to him, and he's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna chop these carrots. But it was, and then I mean the thing there at the end with Shredder and Splinter, gave me goosebumps as
awesome.
a kid, man.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I rewatched that movie, and I got the same goosebumps. And if you can pull that off, you gotta be in my top 5.
Yeah,
It's true.
So I don't want to hear no shit.
I don't think you're gonna hear any shit from this group, man.
Number
Like,
3,
no, probably not.
Vesicles.
My number 3, since at the beginning of this list, right before we started this podcast, we made a ruling that animated movies of comics can be included. And so that made the 4th Batman addition to my list with The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1 and 2, because I think they should count as
Yeah,
one.
I put them both
Those go
together.
together, in my
It's
opinion.
higher on my list.
See, that is my number 3. I have 2 above it that are better, in my opinion. But holy crap, that was almost like reading the book, but with voice acting.
You know, the thing about that is that there's only one thing I would have done to that whole thing to make that movie better.
What's that?
Mark Hamill.
I know. The guy did a serviceable job, there's no question.
But that's you can't give him
But
above
Mark
serviceable.
Hamill.
And
Yeah.
if you
I
think
wish
about
they'd
it,
gotten the guy
when it
from
comes
Arkham
to
Origins.
when it comes to voice acting, if you say serviceable, it's
I
just
know.
kind of like, man, fuck you. Like
It's kind of like, yeah, you were fine, I guess, but but this guy would have been perfect.
should have been Hamill.
I wish.
I mean, I know that he said no unless it's Killing Joke.
Which,
Yeah.
fingers crossed, still
yeah,
waiting.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that. But yeah, other than that movie couldn't have been better.
No, it was amazing.
Great.
Had everything.
Showed the struggles that we like. Okay, everybody always wondered. That was the age-old question. What's going to happen when Bruce Wayne gets old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it showed just how frustrated Bruce Wayne had become.
Yeah.
Old and bitter and
Perfect. And he had to get
angry.
back into it.
So angry.
Yeah. The brutality on display.
Yes. Oh,
Frank
man.
Miller wrote him just right, too.
Yeah.
He was bitter.
It showed what would happen if he went up against somebody that was stronger than him. You know, like because
Yeah.
his age showed.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
you got to think about it. Think about the Justice League. Nobody else in that group's age is really going to show,
No.
No.
except for Batman's.
And then
Yeah.
Green Arrow, yeah.
Arrow, too. Yeah, who is in Dark Knight Returns.
His
One
age
arm.
isn't the thing that showed.
No, it isn't.
His age is not the thing that showed.
That was his lack of an arm.
Yeah, his lack of arm
Yeah.
showed. And he still managed to be that accurate.
Oh, yeah.
Using his fucking teeth. Like,
Yeah.
so,
It was brilliant, though. That movie just displayed everything I
Yeah.
love about Batman perfectly.
well said. Number 3.
For me, my number 3, I know it didn't have comic books at the time, but I know they made them eventually. Evil Dead.
That's true.
I didn't think we were...
I don't know if that counts as an adaptation, per se, and though it is very true. Like, you're talking about the classic, right?
I'm talking about the classics. I'm the Evil Dead. Well,
Yeah.
I guess you can say Evil Dead 2 and then Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
especially Army of Darkness because that's where the
Army of
Jedi's-
Darkness is where the comics come
Yeah,
from, because it was
so-
so successful. I don't know if the source can be considered a comic book movie.
I'll allow it, fuck
not
it.
a bad choice, fuck
I mean,
it,
that to me that's
but,
one
and
of
the
my
comics
favorites.
are incredible.
Yeah,
You know what?
I love
But
them.
it was so cheesy that I'm gonna allow it.
Bruce Campbell.
yeah.
Man.
I mean, yeah, and
Yeah,
and
Bruce
it,
Campbell's
and it
glorious.
showed us Bruce Campbell. Like,
Yep.
that's how a lot of people were introduced to Bruce Campbell,
Yep.
Evil Dead,
who is the
Evil
best
Dead 2,
B actor
Yeah.
of all time.
I love it.
easily.
And then later this year,
I know.
we're
Yes.
getting a Star
Yes.
series,
Yes.
or Ash versus the Army of Darkness.
Yes,
I can't wait for that shit.
I cannot be more excited for a
Starring
TV show.
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
That was the thing.
And,
like,
and
fucking
Lucy
Jesus.
Lawless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also.
boobs herself.
I mean, that was like the
I'm
biggest
so
selling point
excited.
for me for that whole series too. Is when I finally heard that they were bringing back Bruce Campbell to
Bruce
do it.
right?
motherfucking
And
Campbell
I'm like,
as
that's,
Ash.
I'm like, that's
So-
fucking awesome.
It's,
Very awesome. Shop smart. Shop S-smart.
As late as the comic books came from it, I'll allow it. Why not? It's a good movie.
It is. It's one of
Juice
my
box.
favorites.
My number 3,
Yes.
Batman Begins.
Hell yeah.
Batman Begins.
You guys are gonna hate me for this, but
Oh,
like,
that
honestly,
cool.
like that's my favorite one out of that trilogy.
He thinks the
one
same
on my
thing.
list.
I can't agree with that.
Nope.
But I can respect it considering how great a movie it is.
Don't get me wrong. Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
You know
were
what the
great.
worst thing about that movie right now, though?
What?
Is that the only thing I think, thanks to Game of Thrones, the only thing people can think is that little bastard.
I know!
Every time they watch that movie.
Yeah, Joffrey
Like,
himself is that little kid
that
Batman
little
gives
bastard.
the freaking
Yeah.
binoculars to, and all I could, in theaters. I saw the trilogy in theaters when Rises came out, and when I saw him on screen and realized that that's who it was, out loud I gasped, "That little shit!" I couldn't help it. Makes me so mad. But the movie itself,
Dark Knight, I like it. And we've had this discussion before. I'm not
Yeah.
the biggest fan of Heath
Yeah.
Ledger. Heath Ledger Joker. I'm not. I prefer Jack Nicholson Joker.
I
That's
love
me.
Jack Nicholson
like,
Joker. I do.
like classic
Not
Joker.
a problem.
You know. Have I seen Dark Knight Rises?
Batman Begins.
I can't even remember if I've seen the damn movie.
The thing about me, though, is that Batman Begins, for me, is that the only thing that really got me, that whole movie, the only thing that gave me any real enjoyment was when Batman said, "I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you."
Right?
Jumps the fuck right out of that
See,
train.
true.
The only thing that in that whole movie that really made me go, yeah,
See, I'll disagree.
it was worth the whole watch.
The whole movie was fists up in the air and goosebumps for me.
Nah, not for me. Which is weird, because I'm a huge Scarecrow fan.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, well,
Number 3 for me is Spawn.
it's an
I
amazing
think
movie.
enough said.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
And that's really what we get into, especially when it comes to the top 2 or 3, is that we've probably already talked about it.
Yeah.
So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Batman Begins.
Batman Begins.
I love it deeply.
My number 2 is actually Swamp Thing.
Oh man,
The movie?
Yeah.
He is my favorite comic book character of all time, but even I can't bring myself to
Dude,
put
I
it there.
love the old cheesy, campy fucking
It's
shit. I
fun.
mean, I do.
I
can't
don't
help it.
dislike the movie. I can't put it so.
I even liked the Man Thing that just the sci-fi movie that they did. I
Oh,
liked
God.
it. You know.
That shit is so bad.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I like about it.
Yeah,
You
they're
know?
fun.
Well, there's a wrench thrown in right there. I didn't
Yeah, I
expect
wasn't
that.
seeing-
Not
I
in the
did-
top 10.
Unseen.
Swamp Thing is my number 2. I mean, he's. That was actually one of the first superhero movies I watched.
Yeah,
I
same,
love
actually,
that.
same here,
Yeah,
and
you
I
know?
did love it at
You
the
know?
time. I do still
When it
love
comes
it.
to Swamp Thing,
But-
I always preferred the sequel.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
at least he
actually
was
have never
fighting.
seen it.
You know,
Yeah, he's
and, like-
fighting other, monsters. It's awesome.
I'll have to watch it again sometime
Like,
and
it-
see the second.
my
one
number
for the first
2
time.
My number 2 was almost because I couldn't remember if he actually had comics or not. Was almost Toxic Avenger.
There are comics. I don't know what preceded what.
The movie was first.
Yeah.
Movie was first. Okay.
You know, because
What about you? What's your number 2?
My number 2 has also been said already. It's Dark Knight Returns.
Enough said.
Dark Knight Returns, excellent.
Number 2 for me, Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah,
It's too good.
it was amazing.
I enjoy that movie. I could watch part 1 and part 2 over and over again.
Yeah.
Number 1.
I thought it was the obvious answer. I really did. Dark Knight. It's my number 1.
It's also my number 1.
Hands fucking down. I mean,
Yeah.
I
No bullshit. Number 1, Dark Knight.
Truly the
and
best.
the reason for it, not only because is it the best portrayal of a Batman movie that we've ever gotten,
Yes.
because as much as Bale kind of sucked as Batman, he was dead on in that movie.
Yeah.
Aaron Eckhart, dead on as Two-Face.
Hell yeah.
As much as you might not like it, the darkness that is the Joker, spot on by Heath Ledger.
Perfect.
And structurally, character-wise, script-wise, timing-wise, action-wise, everything in that
Soundtrack-wise,
movie, closest thing to a perfect movie I think we're ever going to get.
right.
Yeah,
And I'm not
it's
saying that he was a
truly-
bad Joker. I'm just saying I prefer Jack Nicholson. I prefer
Preference
That's
is more than
perfectly
enough
fine.
reason not
That's
to.
perfect. Well,
Yeah.
that's the whole reason for a top 10 is
Yeah.
preference. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that structurally and everything else around, that movie is as close to a perfect movie as we're going to get.
Yeah.
I know that everybody who
Incredible.
saw that movie, except for people who hated it for whatever reason, were captivated start to finish.
Immediately.
I didn't hate it.
And
But, when people started saying that, Heath Ledger was a better Joker than Jack Nicholson, that's when I started taking issue with.
Right.
But,
that's
personal-
That's just
Personal
personal
preference,
preference,
you
and
know.
that's fine.
What about you, Rolls? What's your number one?
My number one is actually kind of like Evil Dead was. It got comics afterwards. Puppet Masters versus Demonic Toys.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
Like, I loved the Puppet Master movies. They were great. I watched the Demonic Toys movies.
Well, we know who Campy Master is.
Yeah.
And when they did
Approval.
the team up, the
Yeah.
verses, it was great.
I
loved it.
It was so much fun.
Puppet Master has been one of my favorite, movie series from the
Yeah.
get-go,
All right.
They're ridiculous
complain
and
about it.
awesome.
What about you?
My number one is actually Watchmen.
Yeah.
And the main reason it's there is because as much as I love the comic, I feel like that ending of the comic, them, genetically engineering this ridiculous fucking alien just to, portal it into the fucking city and use its psychic powers to wipe everybody out is really
Yeah.
convoluted.
It is convoluted.
And-
I mean, I get why they went that
Yeah.
direction, and they
But
brought it
I just
together
feel like
well.
in the movie with them framing Dr. Manhattan, it just brought a lot more together.
It fits better
Yeah.
story-wise.
So I felt like they improved on the original, with the ending. And that's why it's my top spot.
Yeah, framing Dr.
It's about
Manhattan
as close
genuinely
as they could
is a
get to
better
the comic,
way.
and then they improved on it in a way, so...
Yeah.
And number one for me was Dark Knight.
Yeah.
As said before. No, I can't. There's
Right.
nothing else to be said.
Nothing
Good shit.
else
Yeah.
could go on top for me.
Good shit.
Yep.
Black Canary, do you have a number one? Nope.
Daredevil.
Non-Marvel!
Non-Marvel.
No Marvel?
Non-Marvel.
Non-Marvel.
Really? Ben Affleck, Daredevil?
Yeah.
It wasn't horrible.
Number one?
Not my number one. But it
O-
wasn't
over
horrible.
everything else?
It wasn't horrible. I mean,
Yes,
I
it
had
was.
fun watching it, I'll admit it.
No, you know what? I thought the actors were great. I thought that the movie
Michael
itself
Clark Duncan was an amazing
was great. That script sucked.
yeah, the script was horrible. But,
Mhm.
That script was terrible.
yeah.
But yeah, fine. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Number one non-Marvel movie. Number one comic book movie for Black Canary is Daredevil. Number one non-Marvel comic book movie is Daredevil.
Yep.
That's how we're ending this podcast.
Drop the mic.
Unanimously, all five of us, Daredevil is the number one non-Marvel comic book
There
movie.
you go.
See, I pronounced Daredevil wrong when I said The Dark Knight.
They both start with D.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
you know,
go.
and they're close.
Yeah.
I never actually seen that movie.
You
Well,
never saw
damn.
Dark Knight?
Nope.
Jesus.
Well, we're watching all three of them.
All right.
So,
I think that's going to do it.
yeah, I
For
guess
this
so.
one, for the BAPN and for fans' perspective, I am the double fucking Aaron.
I'm Westicles.
Uber Bulge.
Juice box.
Black Canary.
Later, bitches!